Hello and welcome to another little race I did, or at least part of it. This is the Race Like a Champ series on the Knickerbocker route, and as you can see I've been racing quite a lot recently. So I've raced both of the last 2 days. Yesterday I raced the same route and came third. I was beaten by someone who went long. They went with about 1k to go. I was too tired and not ready for it and didn't have a power up and lots of other excuses, and they beat me by quite some way. So they were a better rider than me as well. But I was determined for the same not to happen today. In fact, my brother last night, who's quite new to Swift, asked me if I've ever considered making a tips video, which I had, but I never got round to. So I intended to do this race as like a masterclass. Sounds slightly arrogant, but just detailing the tips that I've picked up about how to draft in a Zwift race and how to influence the race whilst using the least power, which I'm normally fairly good at, but my stupid iPad decided that it didn't have enough room to save the whole race, so it only saved the last minute of it, even though it's got tons of room. Stupid iPad. Anyway, I thought I'd talk you through the race before the last minute. So I really did emphasise the drafting before the climb and the super tuck in. So yeah, there's no real danger of anything getting away before the Harlem Hill climbs at about 3k, and then at that stage just take up a position in the first third, and then after that there's a really long section which is super tuckable, which I think is the only point I took the front of the race until the end. Just super tucked all the way down, everybody else pedaling, and I went to the front, which was quite fun. Then there's the big climb, so I tried to draft as much as possible, staying within the top 5 is usually my aim, which I think is probably the smallest group that could possibly stay away. And at the top I had the anvil power up, and I had the choice as to whether to deploy it as we went over the top, pick up another power up and fly away from the others. But in a 50-50 decision I decided to keep the anvil for the end. Yesterday I'd ended up with no power up, I think because I wasted it, but also because it was pretty useless, the burrito or something. So I kept the power up, watched the others fly away from me, which was but held my nerve, didn't use the anvil, and as I'd hoped, everything sort of came back together at the bottom of the descent, and was in a group of about 8, all of whom stayed together. No one put in too much of an attempt to break away, and that led us into the downish section, which we're going to watch from about, 1.2 k's to go. Another reason why I think this is one of my best ever races is because I managed to turn it into a race which focused on my strength. So my strength is 1 minute power. Now you can't always turn a race into a 1 minute race. If people go away from you, then you've got to follow them. If the course had ended at the top of the climb, then I couldn't orchestrate things to make it into a 1 minute race. But this one, I did orchestrate things to a degree by not going with the front over the top and trying to pull the straggling riders together a bit rather than split them up, and keeping my power up for one which could be used to go along, which is the anvil, and that's what I did. So here we are with 1.4 kilometres to go. I was just a bit further ahead in the group than I'd like to be, so backed off the power a bit. Want to be at the back. so I can make my surprise attack and not be spotted. So again, coming off the power as we go slightly downhill, trying to head to the back and trying to work out and remember where the big downhill is. So was it at 900? Okay, here we go. So really sprint there, trying to get as much separation as possible, up to 12 watts per kilogram. Need to make a clean break and dissuade the other riders, kill their will to chase. So got 2 seconds here, but also I've got a lot of speed. You can see that at the front, there's no one at the front of the pack. There's 2 watts per kilogram. So they've decided to give up the chase, and I've already got 5 seconds separation, 6, and approaching the bump at the final. Still got a little bit of energy to attack the steepest bit, so really feeling it here, but get over this bit with 8-9 watts per kilogram nearly, and can just reasonably comfortably coast in for about a 3-second victory. Absolutely delighted with that one, and such a shame that I couldn't watch all of it, because I really did feel the strategy over the KOM to not use the anvil was key, and my drafting was one of the best I've done. So you can see here that I averaged 3.4 watts per kilogram, and none of the rest of the front group did less than 3.6. So really did use a lot less energy than the rest of them, and also as the stats show, really played to my strength, using my 1 minute power and making it all about that, and no one could match me. So I won. Really delighted with that. Okay, bye.